On page number Gimel, we discussed the two concepts of the mitzvahs, the Ma'aseh mitzvahs and Kaparas mitzvahs. The last thing was brought a pasuk in Parashat Vayera, Shama derech havaya latzat derech mishpat. The derech havaya is the union of kavana derech havaya to be mamshich hamshachas navaya, and latzat derech mishpat is the Ma'aseh mitzvah. Then he brings another pasuk now in page Samagim Shom Aschazik Meshakos. Another pasuk proves this same point that the Ikar actually not just the two parts, but the Ikar is the Kabbalah Sar, the Ma'aseh mitzvah. The Ikar Meshakosov Alisal Chacham B'Chachmasei. The pasuk says in Yirmiyah Alisal Chacham B'Chachmasei Alisal Givul Gvulas Alisal Ba'ashu Ba'ashu Kim Zois Alisal Misal. Ask of Hashem Mishpat. He said like this. Means a kavana samit should not praise itself. How do you reach the level of kavana? Chacham means kavana samit. Kim bezayis itself oisachas mishpat zdaka ba'od. Kibe'el chafatz. The last, I forgot last words. Kibe'el chafatz num Hashem. The ultimate is halal. Ultimate praise is in the Oisel Chazal the Mishpat the Zaka Ba'aretz ki be'el chafatz no Hashem. Was mit chafatz the chayfetz pnimis harotzim ki b'mitzvah pel mamish. The Seif Ma'ase bozeh davka utneizas haschol the pnimis hatzin sof. Okay, so we started discussing the meaning of mitzvah tzechus kavan. We spoke the difference in mitzvah between Ma'ase and kavana in a few ways, and then the final statement is that the Ma'ase is higher than the kavana. Kabbalah soil is more is deeper, reaches deeper than the madrigas of Abba Ve'ira and Isbainus. And he says, similar to the difference we just discussed between the Ma'aseh, Kavanah mitzvah, niche mitzvah, the act of the mitzvah, and its intent, its the feeling, the intellectual analysis. So a similar comparison is also when compare mitzvahs to Torah. Kima mitzvahs to limud Torah is also the mile of mitzvahs Rabbi Torah. But Torah it says in Zohar that Torah comes from exits Chachma Madrega of Chachma, which means so what is Chachma? Chachma is Ishtalshlus. Madrega of Chachma, the sphere of Chachma, is the beginning of Ishtalshlus. What does it mean? That the Raisa Torah is part of Ishtalshlus. Say the Ishtalshlus Nimshach HaKal. So that Amshach, which is in Ishtalshlus, it's only a it's only a radiance, an expression, a reflection of the Elikus. That is the way. That's the standard of Ishtalshelus. That the way things go. From one step to the lower. Only the lower expression of the higher madrega reaches the lower madrega. The next madrega. The external expression of the Elyon, of the higher madrega, becomes the pnimi, that becomes the core of the lower madrega. So this is how it is in Torah. What aspect of Torah do we get? Only a ha'olavad, which of course we get Arizal, means another source of that. Famous expression is for Arizal, saying Davin, saying benching. Al Teroscha Shemadatanu. It says the Arizal Teroscha Atzilus. Shemadatanu Teroscha Bria. That is a step down from Atzilus Bria. The Eine Daime, Gilui. The lower it gets, the weaker it gets. Another example we see that the way in the Shamas learned the way we learned it's a lower state. Hey, not only that, even in our own experience, in our limud is also there's madrigas. There's a difference the way the Eira Torah, the light, means the godliness of Torah, the way it is expressed, the differences. Ashbi alavat shalom, limut teras and mersa kol apnimis shabaze. It says about Ashbi that when you learn Torah, within his halacha, the pnimis of Torah was shining. The eine belimut halacha gash was a mersa apnimis the inyan as the kamoshehu b'lamayla. Mashenkem shartanoi, was not kamach. Okay, obviously the other Tanakh are also very holy and everything, but there's a nuance, there's a difference that in Ashbi, the Eira Torah was made stronger. So that's what Ashbi and Tanoim. So we say the limit of Ashbi was a higher level of Ashbi of Torah. But it says even today, even today's day and age, in our own experience, like Kol Adam Shav, not every person who learns Torah is equal in the spiritual energy that derives from the limit Torah. One person gets within him the Torah shines in a stronger way than another person. Similar to the way that people are not equal in the way they understand Torah, everyone according to his talents. Similar to that, comes to the spiritual part of Torah. Also, there's a difference between people. The Haggadah says the fact that there's a difference really the difference in the spiritual experience of Torah really depends on something else. It depends on how you daven before learning Torah. Even a person davens before learning in the proper way. The boy then he gets there after. Then he gets the spirituality, the godliness of Torah. But if he doesn't daven to the boy, then the Eira Torah, the likus of Torah does not shine with him. So the fact we discussed a long example how in Torah there's differences. It's not equal. The differences between in Oilamais, between Gan Eden and Lamaze, between people who depends on the way they daven, etc., etc. What is the difference for that? What is the reason for these differences between various madrigas and Torah? Calls them the Shazer HaKaol. Because Torah, like we said, the Chachma Nafka, Torah is part of Shtashlos, which is a horror in the world of Ha'or, in the world of Ha'or, I mean, in the world of Giluyim, there's always differences. Because that's how it is. Like we see the light of the sun. The further it is, the weaker it gets. It depends on the makabel. I mean, sometimes the light of the sun is used as a marshal of some the opposite, but here is using that part. However, it's something that depends where you are, depends on the environment. Aber Maisa mitzvahs, but the act of mitzvahs, there's nimshach atzmos in sof. In the act of mitzvahs, the essence of likus is drawn, not just our. That is why you can say there's not different in the act of the mitzvah. The chiyuv, the kiyum mitzvah, number one, the chiyuv, the obligation to do mitzvahs equal to everybody. So he doesn't say what is maramazir, but Torah depends who you are. It says in Yichus HaMatorah, if a person doesn't have, if he has a job, if he has a family, so he has to learn less. Maybe that's what he means. Mashenka b'mitzvahs, the chiyuv is equal because Torah didn't say the chiyuv is less, but I think that's how we can learn pshat. The mitzvahs, the chiyuv is equal. Every person has the mitzvah of putting on tefillin equally. Torah depends on your situation. Maybe that's what is maramazir. And then this is another thing. First of all, the chiyuv is the same, and also the act. And that's the act of doing the mitzvah, putting on tefillin, shaking lulav, is equal. Kamoy etzem mitzvahs tefillin. So that's what he brings the dugmos. Tefillin mitzvahs matzah v'kaygav. He brings two dugmos and tefillin and matzah. In the actual execution, the performance, practice of this mitzvah putting on tefillin, the mitzvah feeding matzah, shavim Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom v'rashbi v'chol Yisrael kol b'shav. Everybody is equal in the act. V'hainu mipnei shezeh hamshav v'natz ein sof al kein ein b'tachlukim kvar. Okay, so that is the difference in Torah and mitzvahs. In Torah, because it's ha'ara ba'alma, so there's differences between the olamas, between the people. When it comes to mitzvahs are equal because it's hamshach of atzmos. In atzmos, there's no differences. The essence is the same. It doesn't change according to the stage where it's at, according to the level, according to the makabel. That it is who it is. The male is equal. So the mitzvahs express the etzem. That's why it's equal everywhere.
But also the Torah is saying that this is the Anochi, yeah. That the essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu put himself in the Torah. So I mean, this is also when you learn in the Torah, it's a strong bond.
I didn't hear what.
I'm saying when the Torah itself also it is not the ha'ara, it's more than ha'ara. But the Torah itself, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put himself in the Torah. So when you're learning the Torah, it's a bond to HaKadosh Baruch
Hu. He said before that okay, look, that's what you're saying is true. It says sometimes about Torah. The Torah also can demand HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but we say because Torah by definition is the type of thing that depends on your mindset and your spiritual state. So the act of mitzvahs is equal mamish. I mean, anybody who puts on film puts on exactly it does the same act. Torah, by definition, is a more of a spiritual type of experience. It depends on the spiritual state of the person. The part of learning Torah is also the mitzvah of learning Torah. But he's talking here about that aspect of Torah, where Torah is different. The Torah has a unique state. When you compare the two, the mitzvahs express a deeper bond than Torah. Because Torah is something that you have to use your mind. It's more depending on who you are. But there is some kind of difference between people. What you're saying is true too. I'm not, but here he's saying within this Amshachas Gufa, the act of the concept of mitzvahs expresses a deeper connection, a deeper bond. Look, this is one of the sugas Chassidus always talks about. Gadol Talmud Shavei the Ma'aser Gadol Talmud Gadol. There's no end to. There's no clear the way to. In other words, we're not going to say something in comparison to anything else in any other experience in life. Obviously, Torah connects us to the Eibishter, etc. But yachas to mitzvahs express a deeper bond. I think that's how I can understand. Okay, but now he's going to talk more about it. There, and then that thing we just discussed, the different Torah and mitzvahs, there's another way we see it. There's another aspect we see it. First, he'll talk about it where it's in Ruchnius and in Elovis Elyonim. Then he'll speak about it the way it's in fact, in reality. Number one is al derech ma shekoso b'makamacha ben zivug neshikin sheichad avov zivug guf nesheichad zun. Kabbalah talks about the spheres Lamaila. There's two yichudim: the yichud of Avov, Abba Ve'im, Chachma Bina, Rein Delim is Parshin, Chachma Bina, the two flows of godly energy, which are called Chachma Bina, the wisdom and understanding. So they're united constantly. Zivagayu, what's the Lashon? Delim is Parshin. That's called Ichud Avov. Ichud Zon, Zav, Nukvat there, and the six spheres and Malchus, they're also united. So what's the difference? It says that one is called Ziva Gufni, one is called Ziva Gnashikin. It's like I said a few times, the Kabbalah uses very, very physical, very gashmistic mashalim to express some very extreme subtle concepts. So Ziva Gnashikin, Ziva Gufni means that in our whole world, the Ziva, the unity of male and female, husband and wife, the two types of there's the zil shikin, which is the kiss, which it doesn't mean a kiss necessarily. It means there's a more spiritual type of unity, more emotional type of unity, and then there's the physical type of unity. These two yichudim, are compared in Kabbalah to the two types of yichudim in our world. Zivug Nashik and Zivug Guf. And it says that the Zivug Avo, Zivug Ruchni, the Zivug Avo is more of a spiritual type of unity, the Zivug Gufni. So pastors, when you think about it, first glance, it would seem that a spiritual unity is deeper than a physical unity. Spiritual unity, your spirits unite, your minds, your hearts unite. Gufni is something physical. It's a very low level of. That's the thought that comes on the first glance. But Be'emes, he says, there's a mile in the Adreg of Ichud Zun, that unity of Zohar Malchus, because that we don't find in Ichud Avot. What is it according to Kabbalah? According to Kabbalah, it's calling it Ichud Neshamas. What's not Ichud Neshamas? Ichud Neshamas, the latest Neshamas. For some reason, I don't know for some reason. It's one of these things in Kabbalah that I never understood the exact meaning of it. There's something called later to the Zivug, the Neshamas are created, compared to the way it happens in the our world, to the Zivug of Isha, the later that creates that causes later the birth of a child. So the to the zivug of zav and nukva, that creates later in the shaman. That's a very common concept of Kabbalah. Again, I don't have a good understanding exactly what the technical part of it, what is later. But the idea is that he says here one aspect. We see the mile of Yichud Zun, of Yichud Avov. Yichud Avov, there is no latest neshamas. Yichud Zun, there is latest neshamas. And was Zaktodo that so there's a mile. That's the point he's bringing up. There's a mile in Yichud Zun, in Ziva Guf. And there's right away there's a marshal. A marshal was a yodua. So the marshal, the famous marshal, the teacher teaches the student an idea, an intellectual idea to speech. So the essence of the teacher's mind is not transmitted to speech. It's only so because it's only how, so you can't create something that doesn't exist. So if the student is someone who is capable of understanding things, of grasping, so when the teacher teaches him, it works. If the student is not capable of that, he's not. Then the teacher's teaching cannot create something new. Famous expression. The teacher doesn't have the ability to create an intellectual student who is capable of understanding. If he has it, he has it. If he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. So because it's a horror, because the seichel is only a horror, it can't create something. What is the reason for that? Because if the teacher to his teaching would actually theoretically, he would be able to take his own mind and implant it into the mind of the student. Then the student doesn't need to have a cup. If that would have been the case, if the case would have been that the essence of the teacher's intellect is transmitted into the head of the students, then you don't need to. So then he said he can create something new. Because it's only a horror ba'alma, because it's only an expression, the seichel harav stays where it is. It's only a horror. So that's how come coming to Hofstad. Mashenke bashpa loyal bedoim. Mashenke when it comes to procreation, creating, giving birth to a new child. Shezeo ashpa gashmis. I mean, then that's the most seichel tzalaben. So, a father, a parent can create by the child. Create a child with a no seichel that didn't exist before. Then because what the parents give is not just a ha'or, but a part of the essence, what we used to call now shiur, the genetic code. We give the essence of your being. That's why it's possible for the makabel to be created from nothing. Not only that, that it can be that in reality the child will be even smarter than the father. So it's possible that the child will have such a high level of intellect that by the father was never revealed. In other words, it's possible there's certain talents that the father, they were hidden by him, they were never expressed, never revealed. Mashenken, Ben is gal. So that's a marshal. Okay, so you got the marshal here. The difference between a teacher and student and a parent and child. Then the teacher and student, because it's only on one hand, you can think that the teacher gives the student something spiritual, something very lofty. The parent and child, it's like an act of it's more of a physical thing. So you can think that there's something more lofty about the parent and child. Based not only about the father and teacher, it says covered rabbi. There's something that the teacher does that the father doesn't do. But when it comes to the transmission of the etzem, that happens only in the parent. So the Meili says, that's a marshal. So the nimshal is that is the difference between the ichad avot, Yichud Avoy, Yichud Ruchni, it's a more spiritual, it's not Yichud Ruchni, which is more spiritual unity, which is a higher, more lofty level of unity, but it's a whole lot. Mele, לכן מויל מסב מזרק מלאך, I think before. That's what it says in Kabbalah, that from the Ichad Ruchni, what's created only Malachim, Mashengen, Avalam Shachas, Yichud Zun, Yichud Gufni, then Nimshach Atzmus, Lachem Leloid Neshamos. So that, so he brought in this concept, that in Yichud Avon, Yichud Zun, that on the face of it, Yichud Avon is higher, it's like in the Marshal Shikin, it's a more of a spiritual type of unity, but the Mitzat Sheni, not the Mitzat Sheni, really when you look deeper, what does mid the essence dafke the Yichud Zun, and that's why they can be created something new. The Zeo, so when I get to our discussion here, the Zeo Indian term, so these two levels of unity and transmission happen also. There's also different term. The Torah is the Shikin. Torah is compared to the Shikin, the unity that we united the Eivish to Torah. It's compared to the Shikin, to a kiss, which means like more of a spiritual type of unity. Which goes to Sefer Shalbeni, Sefer Ekman, hey, the Eisek HaTorah, but Dim Hashem, saying place in the Shikin. So he brings a source that it says in Tanya that Limud Torah is compared to the Shikin. What does it say in Tanya? Tanya for a second. Tanya. Second. Tanya talks actually about that pair talks about Rachman. The Russian is in Persik that the Yachdan says that the Yachdan will be Yichud El in Eretz Baruch, that the ultimate purpose is to unite the Neshamis with the Yichud Elyon, B'chinas Neshikin. So it brings the concept of Neshikin. She is Dapkas Rucha Baruch, in Neshikin, it's like a spirit unites with the spirit, connects to the spirit, which because of Shekein and Shikas Piu, like it says in Shirashir, Shekein and Shikas Piu, Rashi is like time et Torah, it's a very high level connection. Dahainu is Kashas, Diba Oda, with Dvar Havai Zaloch. So then he says, later it says in the Perek, B'chein Machshav, Ma'aseh B'Ma'aseh. But later he says, "Ve'esek HaTorah b'dibo u'machshav se'in ain't chnas nashikin mamish." So he says over there that ma'ases can compare to chibuk, which of course we mean chabkeni, but dibo machshav Torah is nashikin. Because Torah means that in your mouth you connect to the Eibishter's dvar havai kaviyach. That's like compared to nashikin. That's the lashon he brings from Tanya. So the Galinyaneinu in here, see, it says that Tanya uses the Torah as the Shikin, which is actually Tanya talks about it as a mile. There is a mile, but still it's Yichud Avot. It's only Ha'or Ba'alma. Ma'aseh Mitzvah is nefesh Yichud Zon shechon esam shpar atznis. Mashenken to mitzvahs is Yichud Zon shpar atznis.
The Tanya is talking about the Tanya is comparing the chibuk and nishuk.
Exactly. It talks about chibuk, right? So it doesn't fit exactly. Yeah, it doesn't fit. The marshal doesn't fit. Here it compares nishuk and pitichut gufni. Over there it compares chibuk. According to Tanya, the nishuk is deeper.
Deeper than chibuk, yeah.
Torah is deeper. According to the way it says it here, it turns out that there's a mile in mitzvahs mitzad because there's zero gufni.
So what is according to Tanya? What's the chibuk?
What?
What's the chibuk in Tanya?
You mean it? Ma'isa mitzvah is chibuk. That's according in Tanya. In Tanya it talks about a ma'isa is chibuk. But in our Maimon, he talks about, it's interesting. He takes out in Tanya the part of Nishikin, but the Ma'isa Mitzvahs, he doesn't go by, it says in Tanya. The Ma'isa Mitzvahs says, is a different way. It's a different view. Because, we always learned, and we learned another Maimon, how sometimes it says Torah has an advantage over mitzvahs. So it's all like it's one of these things of Chassidus. There's always both sides of it. Sometimes it talks Torah advantage because mitzvahs. Remember that mitzvahs have. It says Chayma Torah. Torah protects the mitzvahs. Something take the. So I guess it all depends on what level. In certain levels, we have the mile of Torah, and sometimes you have the mile of mitzvahs. And our Maimon now, he talks about how the mile of mitzvahs of a Torah, the mile of Ziva Gufni of Ziva Neshik. He brings that from Tanya, the Torah is Neshikin, but mitzvahs, he doesn't use what says in Tanya that it's Chibuk, Fakert. Says that mitzvahs is Yichud Gufni. Ashpa Atzins. Zero miles and Maisal Adibus. This thing we just discussed is also the mile of action of a speech. The Dibo Machshava the Torah Agam is a Gilu, is Bagachas Ruchnim. Torah is Dibo and Machshava. So you speak and you think. That's like a Gilu. When you speak and you think, that expresses your personality. It's Gilu. But it's like a spiritual. But but like we just said before, what it reaches the Madrigan Alikus only all levad. I submit a Shaina Finis Gilui, my summit is not Gilui, like we already spoke about. Mice doesn't action is not something that expresses the pure mile of a human being. It can also do action. So a male, it's helem, it's not gilui. A dry act without an intent is, like we said earlier, go blow the shama. There's lacks the death. It lacks the life. Male aim is a gilui. Dafka was there nimshach. Dafka pnes atzis. So that's the same concept we just said. The difference between Rav Talmid and Ava Ben. But then I goes in. But it says the truth is, he goes in Torah Gufa, but he goes back. So he said, but Torah Gufa also. But even the Torah, there's sometimes Magvor b'Makamacher. Shesh was Isan said the Oisius Shalom Mailam in the established by Oisius. In Torah Gufa, we also find there's a mile of Dibur of Torah of a Machshava of Torah, because it says with the Bartabah. Because there's a mile in the oasis, the words that we use in speech, or that have an advantage over the content of the in the oil, have an advantage over the content. The oil manigas oasis, the oil is compared to like the driver of the words. In other words, the words we're using are driven by the idea we want to express. So the oil, the content, drives the oasis. So the oasis are compared to Merkava. The oasis are the conduit, the vehicle to which the oil, the content that's expressed is being communicated. So compared to Merkava. Merkava yeshba ma'isa in ma'ila shenoises oasis. The Merkava, the vehicles has a certain advantage on the one who rides the vehicle, because only he can move him around. Without that, the Oichev cannot move. So that's a muscle. So the Oises Torah can take the oil, in a place where the oil itself cannot reach. So the Oises have that advantage. We are dua. The Torah yesh beis in Yonim. How Torah, it's known that the meaning of Torah, limud Torah, is two parts. Kriyas Torah, there's the reading of the words, and there is the application of your mind to understand, analyze. Yesh Islan Milas. It says in other places, יש איסר מיילה בקריאס התורה, שזה קריאס האיסס לבד. There's an advantage in Torah Gufo, there's an advantage sometimes in reading over understanding. The expression is in Chazal, that's quoted in the Ramban. I think that's the first source we ever heard, Ramban Akdomas HaTorah. Reading the Torah expresses, you capture and you call the Shmois of HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shem Shemes Atzmi, we say Shmois of HaKadosh Baruch Hu here. Sometimes Shmois of sometimes means external, because like a name is something you only need for as a handle to call someone. But here it means the opposite. Shmois means Shmois of Atzmi. That's what explains the Chassidus, that the Kriya of Oisias HaTorah reaches a deeper level than the understanding. See, I'm not sure yet why I brought in this entire discussion here, because I think it shows that in Torah Gufa there's also in the midst of Torah Gufa there is an aspect which is similar to what we said, the mile of mitzvahs of Torah, because the Oisias also take you somewhere that the oil of Torah cannot take. See, brings it in here, but then it says, after telling us that Torah also has it, which is the ultimate expression of that aspect. That is actually only in mitzvahs. Mitzvahs take you above Torah. Again, I guess it needs more investigation why you have to bring in this. The essence of Torah here, because the general idea of he wants to communicate here is the mile of mitzvahs of Torah. He says the Chag of Torah also has that aspect in it. Essence of Torah. So we're still following the flow that he's telling us. The mitzvahs have a mile of a Torah, just like we said earlier about the mile of Yichud Gufni over Yichud Ruchni. And the mile of Ava Ben or Ava Talmid, the mile of. So the same thing it says in Torah mitzvahs, the mile of mitzvahs of a Torah. Zer de Yerushalmi Perek Hamad the Shabbos, the Gemara in the Yerushalmi Shabbos says, Rashbi Svil and Ishtarosam Nasa Einem Afsegam Krishma. The Gemara says that according to Rashbi, even Ishtarosam Nasa Einem Afsegam Krishma. You don't stop in the person in the middle of the Torah. Zman Krishma comes, you don't stop. The Gemara asks in Yerushalmi there, why isn't Rashbi admitting that the person should stop learning Torah to do the mitzvahs of Sukkah and Lulav? So why it comes to Krishma is different. The Gemara emphasizes it says that really Krishma and Torah have there's something they are really, both of them are shinon. Both of them are about a mitzvah of speaking. Shinanto, I translate shinon, verbalizing, saying things. So since both mitzvahs of Torah and Krishma are shinon, the mitzvah of Krishma is not important enough, according to this opinion. That's not the halacha, but so he says, according to this opinion, why is Samelis, what the Gemara says is there's a difference between Lasa Sukkah Little Lulav and mitzvah of Krishma. In Hanama, Krishma is also mitzvah, but because it's a mitzvah of Dibur, so it's not Deichet Torah. Alright, so what do we see from here? The Maisa mitzvah Sukkah Lulav, Gemara Gama Krishma. Ime Yois, it's highly the act of sitting in a sukkah and shaking a lulav is ayah from Krishma. Image is in Kabbalah. So Krishma, what is the content of Krishma? What is the inner meaning of Krishma? Kabbalah Samach Shemayim. Shmai Sal Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They accept the Eibishter's sovereignty, accept the Eibishter's Kabbalah self. But the Kolmaka is a dibur levad, the Maisel Mailam. So that. The fact that the Gemara differentiates between Krishma and Sukkah and Lulav, that tells us already that expresses the idea which I said before that Maisa is higher than Dibu. That's what he started the discussion. So there's an advantage in action over speech. But he says the kaimelon the halacha Maisa is like mafsikin l'kishma. The halacha l'poil. It spoke about the shit of Rashbi, but the halacha Maisa is that mafsikin l'kishma, that even the Mishnah tells them nothing, mafsikin l'kishma. Zog echad mipnei shemkishma makona klolis the mitzvah dain kabbalas machashumayim. The fact that the halacha is that we are stop learning Torah in order to say Krishma is also because the mile of Kabbalah Sir, which is the mitzvah, because Krishma is Kabbalah Sir. I will move him as Maras HaMaisa. But so the halacha is taken the Maisa that we do Ramachs Krishma, but the fact that the Gemara differentiated originally between the Nshitas Rashbi, between the act of Sukkah and Lulav and the act of Krishma, that shows us the mile of Maisa. So that's step one. So we explained the mile of Maisa. Now he tells us another point. Not only is Maisa have an advantage over Torah, even the Torah itself, how do we reach there? That's also to Maisa. Now, Yadua, the Lamaila, Kedim Mamshechim. So he brings in another discussion here that talks about the spheres. He said the sphere is Eretz and Kelim. Why are the Eretz mislavish in the Kelim? It's explained that the Kelim Mamshechim. The Kelim are the ones who draw the Eretz Shabinimshach. Kamoi, the Eretz Tivalas Lamaila. The nature of the light of the Eretz is to go up, to be connected to its source, not to be nimshach. V'akelim, u'masha yered misav v'akelim, v'ad yisheresh makar akelim, sh'amayim makar. U'meshkos b'torah b'abir v'kibul v'makamach b'dav loy ka'aretz. So in other places in Chassidus, and this to my mom, he's quoting here in Torah and Ka'aretz. He explains why does the oil nimshach in the kelim? The oil's nature to go is the teva oil last the mile. Teva otzi. The oil is instead of otzi. It wants to connect to its source. So why is it nimshach l'mato? Because the kelim really, the sheresh kelim of the milam sheresh is. Like we explained it last time, I think that just like in the standard marshal is always from Rav Talmud. The ability of the teacher to reach to a student who's lowest, the keli, the makabel, that comes from a deeper place within the teacher. So sheresh kelim ma'al sheresh ha'eres. So because the recognizes that the sheresh kelim is higher, so that sheresh kelim is entices and forces, so to speak, the oil to be nimshach. So that's what it says in Kabbalah when they get to the spheres that in Chassidus that the kelim, because the sheresh kelim is mam sheresh ha'eres, so the kelim is a mamshech draw the eres. The nature of the eres on its own would be to go up, to leave, and the kelim, because of their mila, they draw the eres. So what does it mean? But he only brought this as a mush. The Maisa mitzvahs shem p'chines kelim mitzvahs are kelim, like we said. The mitzvahs are kelim. Mitzvahs are like vessels through which the spirit comes through. Just like just like the limbs of the body, they're the vessels for the koiches hanefesh, for the chayes hanefesh. So b'meileh, so what do we? B'meileh, mamshechim sarah the Torah. They just added another line here. So just like we speak in the spheres, that the kelim have an advantage. The kelim draw the oil. Similar in the mitzvahs of a mile of a Torah, not only their own mile, but they're the ones who draw the oil of Torah also. The oil of Torah is nimshach in this world because of the mitzvahs. The mitzvahs, they're the kelim that draw the oil of Torah. Then he says there's another point. Another point is there's another aspect. The Ma'aseh Mitzvah is kfir. Ma'aseh Mitzvah is not just an act, not just a performance, a practice. There's also another aspect of mitzvah. Kfir. It's what we call it skafir. Kfir means there's an act of overcoming your own nature and do something against your nature. The Ma'aseh Lashon get me'useh, like I mentioned, the halacha, the kind of get me'useh, a get that was forced. Me'useh is much forced. It was forced. A person was forced against his will to give a get. But the halacha is a get me'useh is post. Is not valid. A get that was done, that was given against the will of the father, of the husband, the man. It's possible. Get a me'useh post. So you see the word me'useh means forcing it to do something against your nature. That's one sample. Maaseh means kfir, and another example is the Mishnah says ma'asin al tzedakah, that the bezdin, the bezdin of each Jewish community, ma'asin al tzedakah, force the community to give tzedakah. So ma'asin is meloshin forcing. So we see here in these two dogmas from get and tzedakah, ma'usam achla tzedakah, pirush kfir ve'echach. We're going back to the mitzvahs. The inyan mitzvah kfir shekoifes atam lasas mitzvah gam she'ina roitza mevat rotzem torz nashveh. The meaning of mitzvah, of ma'aseh mitzvah, has another aspect to it. It's the forcing itself. It's kafir. That also has a certain mile that he's going to discuss further. Okay, we'll continue.
Shukran.